All right, guys, welcome back. Over the last few episodes, we've been building up to today's range session. We started by preparing the brass, then headed out to collect the initial range data, and finally reviewed those results back here in the reloading room. From that review, 3 areas stood out as particularly interesting. Today's goal is simple. We're heading back to the range to see whether those observations translate into consistent groups on paper. I'm also going to record the velocities for each group to see how closely they compare with what we observed during the previous testing. At the end of today's session, we'll have a much better idea which direction this project should take next. As always, this video documents my own precision rifle project and the observations I make along the way. So let's head to the range. All right, guys, so here at the range, let me just quickly explain what we are going to do. So on the target I've set here, I've actually loaded for those 3 different areas or nodes that we have identified in the previous video. I've loaded 5 rounds for each of those, but I loaded an additional round, the cold bore, for the first group. So I loaded 6 for the initial gun range. It's gonna make noise. So I'm going to do cold bore over there, 5 shots of the first node, 5 shots of the second node, and 5 shots of the third node. So we've got the Garmin, so we can measure our speeds again. So speeds, groups, hopefully this goes really well. I'm holding thumbs, and as an addition, I've been putting this off for a very long time. I've got a load from Francois himself from Axe Bullets, and I'm going to do a group ladder test as well. So he gave me a 5 charge ladder, and I'm going to do 3 of each, except the last one because I only had 14 bullets instead of 15 bullets. So the last one will only be 2. So hopefully we get an indication from that as well. And on that, we will be doing this target. So we'll do 3, 3, 3, 3, and the last 2. Right, guys, without further ado, let's put the targets up and get shooting. Oh, and before I forget, the copper bullets are actually 140 grains instead of the 135 grain brass axe monolithics. So I am putting a lot of hope into these copper ones as well. So yeah, hopefully we can use interchangeably. But yeah. Right, guys, here we go. That first cold bore shot. We just make sure the Garmin is ready. Okay, all good to go. I'm liking that shot way too much for first shot. Now I'm going to give the rounds, let's say 1 minute between each round, just for the barrel, so that we don't overheat the barrel. But I think it's safe to say we can continue with the second one and actually start our group testing now. I feel like this bag's a little bit low, so give me 1 second. We've got the fix for that right here. There we go. That feels a lot more comfortable. Guys, this is what I expect of this rifle. Yes. I don't want to jump to conclusions too quickly here, but damn, these first two are just wow. I'm holding thumbs. This is our next ALRHA load. Yo. Last one for the first batch. I'm happy. I'm happy. Wow. All right, guys, so that concludes the first batch. And from what I'm seeing so far and what you guys can see as well, it's looking good. So let's see how the rest of them go, but holding thumbs, it gets even better. Okay, guys, let's start with the second batch. Round number 1. Yes. Can it do? The second batch is the one that's right there at the 2,700 feet per second, just over 2,700 feet per second. So I think this second batch is the sweet spot. So I'm really, really holding thumbs for the second batch. The first batch looked great, really, really happy with that, but it's just under that 2,700 feet per second magic point. So yeah, I'm really, really holding thumbs for the second batch. But let's finish the batch first before we get too excited. Even though I'm struggling to keep it all together, let's do round number 2. Did that just go the same hole? I have to review the footage because I think so. Last one for the second batch. All of these are looking so promising. So going to give the rifle a little bit of chance to cool down before we move on to the last node. All right, guys, let's move on to the last and final node and see what they do. Okay, guys, I'm going to shoot in quadrant 4 rather, because I see there's a bullet hole in quadrant 5 that shouldn't be there. Was that from the previous batch? Could be. That's not right. That's definitely not right. Landed way over there. Let's try shot number 2. That's better. That was definitely a fly up. Guys, I've only shot now 2 rounds of this last batch, and I've noticed that both of them are above the 2,800 feet per second mark. So it's moving a little bit faster than GRT predicted. Interesting. Let's do round number 3. Okay guys, final bullet for the last batch. Speeds are still consistently above 2,800 feet. Right guys, so that concludes the 3 different areas grouping that we identified, and I think I have found my next ALRHA load. And yeah, chasing speeds isn't everything. Remember, we want those small groups. Right guys, so we're quickly going to let the rifle cool down, and then we're going to continue with the 140 grain copper axe monolithic bullets and do that ladder test and see what results we get. All right guys, and we are back. So new targets up. We're going to quickly run through this copper ladder, and then we'll review the data. So yeah, see you guys at the end. And first shot's looking really good already. Once again, I'm jumping the gun. Pun intended. Guys, I don't want to make predictions too soon, but I think this rifle likes the copper more than the brass. I have such high hopes for the brass. I really like the concept behind it. But I'll settle for copper as well. Copper is looking real promising right about now. Right, guys, last 2 rounds. So far, the copper looks extremely promising. I might just have to make the switch. Drop me a comment down below what you think. Right, guys, that concludes all the shooting for today. So I'm going to have my final thoughts quickly in the car because the guys from Warrior just rocked up with some new muzzle brakes and they're making quite a ruckus. So I'll see you guys in the car. All right, guys, now that we can speak freely here in the car, light is fading fast. Let me quickly run through my initial thoughts and my closing thoughts for this video. One thing I have to say, and this is kind of the philosophy that has hit me quite hard and changed my chain of thoughts about how I should go about load development. And that is all thanks to this great community leaving such informative comments, such comprehensive comments, and sharing their actual experiences with a novice like myself. And that saying that really hit me was, speed means nothing without ES and SD. ES and SD means nothing without group size. So guys, I'm not going to be chasing speeds. I'm looking at those group sizes. So far, there's one that I've identified for the brass that I'm really, really liking. And then also there's two on the copper, one on the copper. All three of them were cutters. I mean, you guys saw it yourselves. Those look really, really good. So guys, this is my closing thoughts on that. I think I'm going to settle on a load there, and that's going to be my next ALRHA, and possibly, yes, the NRL is also coming up. That's possibly going to be my load that I'm going to settle on for the ALRHA, NRL, and also the upcoming hunting trip that I'm going to do. So yeah, guys, if you like this video, if you find it informative, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, drop me a comment down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.